God is not beating you down and going, why aren't you trusting me? He looks at you and goes, I have compassion for you. I have mercy for you. I don't want you to be oppressed. I want you to be set free so that you can trust me more. Allow Jesus to heal. How do we do this? We allow Jesus to heal us. Acts 10:38 declares this about Jesus, how God anointed Jesus of Nazareth with the Holy Spirit and with power. He went about doing good and healing all those who were oppressed by the devil, for God was with him. Jesus went about doing good. Jesus went about healing those who were oppressed by the enemy. And he has a healing for us this morning. And I want us to understand that before us is an opportunity for God to restore, heal, and deliver the things of our heart. For everything out of our heart is flowing in life. And we've got to be able to come back to a place of trusting him. God is not beating you down and going, why aren't you trusting me? He looks at you and goes, I have compassion for you. I have mercy for you. I don't want you to be oppressed. I want you to be set free so that you can trust me more. That's God's desire. And if I had to sum up one thing that keeps us from being in this place of having God come in and heal our heart, I mean, we could probably list dozens of things, but the number one thing I could almost bet 9 times out of 10 that would be at the top of people's list is fear. Fear. Why else would we not want to get healing and receive what God has for us and ready for us? You know, I was a few weeks ago, a month ago or so, I was being convicted by God that I am carrying this heaviness when it comes to rejection in my life. And I've told this story to some people, but there's some people in here that haven't heard this, and you need to hear this. For so many years, I felt rejected. And it's this thing that past experience after past experience I've had in my heart that it's hard to trust God with the intimate things of my life. It's hard to be vulnerable because of rejection over my life. And he was bringing it up. He was bringing it up in his word. He was bringing it up into sermons I was listening. He was bringing it up in conversations I was having with people. And it was evident. You ever get to that place where God's like, can I scream any louder? I'm trying to get your attention. And so finally I came to a place that I was like, okay, God, I get it. And right now I'm ready to receive healing. I'm ready to receive healing from you. And I didn't know where to begin, to be honest with you, because this thing is so heavy and so rooted in me. And I just sat on my rug in my living room. And I was afraid because I did not want to go through this experience and time with God having to rehash all of these things in my mind, all of these past memories and experiences. But I had to trust God in that moment that he is so good and so loving that he would not allow me to go through something that was not good for me. And you know what he did? He gave me one of the best experiences I've ever had with him. So profound that physically my body felt like it was healing. He poured so much forgiveness and restoration in that time with him. And what keeps us from getting into that place? Maybe it is getting on your carpet in your prayer closet, wherever you go. Maybe for me, it took a few hours to go through all of that. I had a lot of stuff to get through, guys. And maybe it's just a few moments here and there. But what keeps us from being in that place with God? A lot of the times it's fear. And fear holds us captive. Another spirit, evil spirit that the Bible talks about. Romans 8:15 says, for you did not receive the spirit of bondage again to fear, but you received the spirit of adoption by whom we cry out, Abba, Father. That which you have fear in, God says, listen, I did not give you the spirit of fear. I did not give you something that you are in bondage to and rooted in fear. I've given you the spirit of adoption. I've given you access to Jesus. I have given you an opportunity to be set free. And we cry out, Abba, Father. This is the intimate relationship that we're able to have with God in heaven. Going back to what Jesus did. I can't say this enough. He went about doing good and healing all who were oppressed by the devil. All who were oppressed. That word oppressed, I had to look it up. I'm just one of those people. I'm like, wonder what that means in the Greek. I went through that, and I forgot to put this up. I apologize for that. As I was going over this last night, I was like, I got to put this on the screen. So just listen. Oppression, to overpower, to treat harshly. Do you feel like in your life right now that you are being treated harshly or that you're being overpowered? Listen, is oppression a godly thing? No. A red flag should go up when we're feeling oppressed, whether in the spirit, physically, that there's a good chance there's a work of the enemy in here. It says, Jesus said, oppressed by the devil. A further explanation of this word oppressed unpacks so much, and it's a very good news here. It says to powerfully bring someone down. To oppress someone is to powerfully bring someone down. And get this, and by doing so, denying them the higher position or blessing that they should enjoy. So oppression treats you harshly, and it pushes you down so that you do not walk in the higher position and blessing that God has given you through his Son, Jesus Christ. Did you know that you are a child of God and that you walk in freedom and that you walk in blessing in what he's afforded to us? But the devil wants to come around and he wants to push you down so that you do not walk in that higher position, so that you do not walk in that blessing that he has for us as believers. And I'm sick and tired of it. Jesus was sick and tired of it. That's why he went about healing. One more example, we'll wrap this up. Luke 13 describes a situation that Jesus was just described doing. And it says, now Jesus, he was teaching in one of the synagogues on the Sabbath. And behold, there was a woman who had a spirit of infirmity 18 years and was bent over and could in no way raise herself up. But when Jesus saw her, he called her to him and said, woman, you are loosed from your infirmity. And he laid his hands on her, and immediately she was made straight and glorified God. Now, the Pharisees, like usual, were not too happy that he did this on the Sabbath. So there's an argument that takes place. And then Jesus comes back a few verses later in verse 16. He says, so ought not this woman, being a daughter of Abraham, get this, who Satan has bound, think of it, for 18 years, be loosed from this bond on the Sabbath. Who had her in bondage for 18 years? The work of Satan. The devil will go around oppressing Jesus' children. And I don't want this anymore because I do not want the things of my past, the things happening in my present, nor the thoughts of my future to cause distrust in my Father in heaven, because he is so good. He truly is so good, and he desires good things for us, and we really can trust him, because when it comes down to it, when has God ever failed us? Never, and he never will. He's a good God.